Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today's subject is about how duration of a sexual encounter is related to enjoyment, fulfillment, pleasure, and all that. I was interested in talking about this subject because it's something very common among my patients. Of course, the most obvious would be those ones dealing with premature ejaculation or delayed ejaculation, because for those people, for those subjects specifically, time is essential so much that it gives them anxiety. And on the other hand, because of I work a lot with patients who are dealing with chemsex, sex under the influence of specific kind of drugs that have a direct effect on sexual performance, on pleasure, on sensitivity, and especially on shooting the sex drive to amazing levels. And one of the most often arguments in favor of taking those drugs, which I'm totally against, is that a sexual encounter doesn't last just minutes, but it lasts for days. So the longer, the better. It's apparently the main argument about this. And since I have been hearing the same argument over and over again for the last month, I just think it's very important for just to touch the subject and have people just like start questioning this notion to see if it actually fits or if it makes any sense or not. One of the main exercises I work whenever this subject is addressed is trying to make them remember sexual encounters that are really short in duration, but are still really pleasurable. Maybe because it's done in a place where you shouldn't be having sex, like let's say the sauna in a gym or the bathroom in a restaurant or in a bar, which are really cool sexual experiences, really slutty, all those stuff that makes us feel really good about something. I think I'm gonna generalize it, but say everybody has had some sort of encounter like that. And I really, really doubt that whenever that encounter ended, we think, God damn it, it was too short. We're probably feeling like, hey, that was amazing. You know what a crazy thing we just did, that it was just really good. So when we remember those encounters, I invite you to think, is really the duration of the sexual encounter proportional to the enjoyment of such? Or does it have much more to do with our state of mind? And of course, as you may imagine, I'm totally inclined to believe it's the second one. And here I'm giving you the opinion you never asked for, which is no. There's absolutely no correlation between how long a sexual encounter lasts and how much enjoyment you get out of it. I mean, you can have, as I just stated, a very short, really kinky kind of sexual encounter with a lot of emotion and stuff, and you can enjoy it very, very much, and it could last like 2-3 minutes. Or you can also have sexual encounters that last really, really long, and you just want to die, and it's like, can we get over it already? Which is, of course, not better. So we can tell that time is not really a variable that affects enjoyment at all. So where do we get this idea that actually time, the duration, or how long a sexual encounter lasts is actually relevant? Or why do we believe that making it longer is going to make it better? I think it's probably porn. As you may tell, I mean, I'm a porn actor, so I'm really not stigmatizing that at all. I'm just saying that porn, as a audiovisual product, it has a certain amount of stuff. It's made for fantasy, and it's meant to exaggerate fantasies. Porn has one end, which is to turn people on and make them masturbate through exaggeration of situations. The problem with porn, of course, it's not actually porn itself. The problem is that our governments, most of them, are really incapable of providing proper sexual education. So the only reference around sex people get is through porn. And since nobody talks about that, not even parents or teachers, because they're not allowed to do so, because apparently now in the United States, if you talk about it, you go to jail or something, whatever. And it's not better in other Western countries at all. At least you don't go to jail, but it's just the state doesn't allow you to touch these subjects in a proper way. So the only reference people get is porn. And in porn, you watch people who are having sex in an average time of 30 minutes. So you think you want to last 30 minutes. We don't take into account that porn has to sell, that porn has a target, porn has to be consumed because people have to buy it, because otherwise it's not, people are making it because they want to make money too. So it has to be commercial. it has to be exaggerated. So in porn, you see 30-minute long sexual encounters, and you see 4 or 5 different sexual positions, and you see everybody's like moaning and having an amazing time all the time, which is probably not the way real sex is. It's not even the ideal way sex is. It just, again, as I said, it's the only reference we got. So it's the what makes us think it should be like that when it actually shouldn't. For example, this whole thing with changing positions, I always use this example. There's this very sexy position where the man or the top is standing up and carrying the woman or the bottom and just having sex in the air. And it looks amazing. It's really visually stimulating, and it can be very kinky, and it can turn you on a lot to look at it. But now, how many people actually are sleeping with their partners and actually starts having sex and then decide to take out the covers and freeze in the middle of the night, and somebody to have to carry their partners to do that? That's something that probably never happens, or happens only a few times. But in porn, you see it as a regular thing. So we connect here with performance anxiety. Now we see what happens in porn, and we see what we are actually capable of doing, and we believe we are insufficient, we're not enough. How am I going to do all that when I'm really not able to do that? So we try to push ourselves into having a sexuality that's closer to what's represented in porn. And of course, that totally escapes our reality. That people are really looking forward to having this sexual recognition. I am the best fucker. I am amazing at sex. I'm really good in bed. I need everybody to think that. I need everybody to believe that. I need that recognition, you know? So in order to do that, they grab what they believe is the best sex, in this case it's porn, and try to do it that way. So they are going to try to last around 30 minutes or even more. So how long does sex actually last? There are a lot of different studies surrounding the subject. So I'm sticking to a 2016 experiment that was done in, my memory sucks, I'm very sorry. It was one of the Ivy League universities. I don't remember if it was Harvard or Yale, but one of those. And it said that during masturbation, men and women are able to reach orgasm in around 4 minutes, both. Of course, we need to take into consideration that masturbation involves you, yourself, your own body, your own rhythm, your own stimulation, in your own room, privately, not feeling vulnerable at all, you and your own body and yourself, you know? So it's probably a very optimal situation for arousal and pleasure and reaching orgasm, which when you have sex with somebody else, it's quite different. So how much is the average for actual sex with another person or with other persons? It's actually around, again, 4 and 8 minutes. So it's not really that much longer. And now just think about what happens when you have an average of between 4 and 8 minutes, but your brain actually thinks that to be good in bed, you have to last at least half an hour. Of course, that creates a lot of frustration. Just in case you want to feel good about yourselves, when it comes to primates, other monkey people like ourselves, humans are actually the ones that last longer during sex. And those who last the least are gorillas, that last around 10 seconds. Why is that? The fact is that when we are having sex in the wild, in the nature, when we're still like evolving, we're not climbing on trees or being safe at all. We're just standing on the ground having sex, which makes us really vulnerable for the attacks of other humans or other species or other creatures. So sex had to be really fast because otherwise we would get eaten alive. So that's something we didn't want. So sex had to be short in order for us to survive as a species. And that's why it was really relevant to evolve, making our sexual encounters as short as possible. So it's actually positive. It's a survival kind of thing, and it's the way we are built to last less, not more. That's why some pathologies are actually related to delayed orgasms. For instance, when somebody is overweight, the testosterone receptors do not work that well, and you do not produce as much testosterone, and therefore arousal is not as successful as it should be, so it makes you less sensitive, and therefore sexual encounters last longer. So if you're overweight, probably in average, sex is going to last longer than if you were, for instance, athletic in that way, which of course makes you have regular testosterone levels and regular testosterone receptors. So as you can see, a healthy person probably lasts not as much as an overweight person, because again, we are built to last less, not more. And of course, there's also the Coolidge effect, named after the American president Coolidge, um, which is better explained through an experiment with sheep they read about. That makes it really clear. You have male sheep, number one, and then you have female sheep, number one, two, and three. Okay. When male sheep has sex with female sheep number one, let's say sex lasts 1 minute, and serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, they all reach a level of 10, the most. It's very exciting, a lot of hormones that makes you feel good and stuff like that. Second time he has sex with the same sheep number one, now he lasts 2 minutes instead of one, and serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin levels reach 8 out of 10. Third time, they last 3 minutes, and the hormone levels are lower, and so on. So sex lasts longer, and the resulting reward system in the brain gives them less and less of the same hormones. But what happens when sheep one has now sex with sheep number two? Sex lasts again 1 minute, and all the serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin levels reach 10 again. So routine makes us last less. It makes sex less exciting because we're working on an already, let's say, known terrain. And of course, that's not the way anybody wants to experience sex, as something that's known, as something that's not exciting anymore. So it's sort of negative to last longer. Lasting less is actually a sign that the situation is really exciting, that you're really into it, and that your reward system is going to actually reward you a lot more. So those are two examples of how our bodies are made to have evolved to perceive less lasting, short-lasting sex as something positive instead of negative. And now, with the influence of porn and with the lack of proper sex education, which is the main argument here, people are actually trying to make their bodies work in a way they were not built to. And there's, again, two subjects that I think are really important. First off is the idea of ejaculation, male ejaculation, as the end of sex. We also refer to it as finishing. I'm going to finish means I'm going to come. So why do we have that stupid concept? I mean, an orgasm and ejaculation are pleasurable. When you have sex with someone, the end goal is either to feel pleasure or to feel a connection or a mix of both. So making out is really pleasurable. Oral sex is really pleasurable. Playing with your hands and fingers is really pleasurable. Hugging, kissing, pulling their hair, smelling, licking, all of that is really pleasurable. An orgasm is pleasurable as well. But we're still treating orgasm as the goal. We need to reach orgasm, otherwise sex is not going to be considered good. Without orgasm, it's incomplete sex, and that's a really stupid concept. Once we start learning that an orgasm is just part of experiencing pleasure, and you can keep on experiencing pleasure after orgasm, I think that would make how long sex lasts way less important, and it actually isn't important. So I think that would be more coherent with the way we're built, especially would make our sexual encounters much richer, because we're not going to be thinking that there's a beginning or an end or a goal, and if you don't reach that goal, you feel the pressure to achieve it and stuff like that, which just makes sex poorer. So I think getting that into our mindsets is really important. Of course, the first argument I'm going to hear is, yeah, but after ejaculation, you lose the erection and therefore sex is over. And that's another myth we have to work with. Well, you don't need an erect penis to have fun during sex. You are not a penis with a personality. You are a whole human being with a whole body covered with sensitive skin. You have a lot of body parts that can be really stimulating for your partner and that you can use to either give or receive pleasure. The erect penis has a problem, that is that we tend to focus all our pleasure and all our love-making abilities around it. And again, that makes us really poor in bed. We can learn to be more diverse and learn to have more strategies once we learn that our entire body is a sex organ. So in that way, we can just pull the erect penis out of its pedestal and start learning that we don't really need it to enjoy ourselves in bed. If there's an erection, cool. If there's not an erection, it should be cool as well. because we should be able to have much a lot of different tools to enjoy sex, not depending only and specifically on one body part. Again, we are not a penis with personality. We're a whole body, so we should try and use it and learn it, right? It's probably a hard notion to understand at the beginning, but if you start deconstructing in that way, it should be really enjoyable. That's an exercise I work a lot when I'm having sex counseling sessions. Those are the most interesting cases I have, because it's deconstruction, the whole idea, because male psychoeroticism is built around the penis, so trying to destroy something that has been taught from a very young age is a really cool process. That said, the goal of this video is to invite you just to think about it, to evaluate, do the same thing I ask my patients to do. Try and remember very short sexual encounters that you can think, hey, that was really, really cool, that was really arousing, that was really hot. And then start wondering if actually time means something, or if it's somehow related to how much you enjoy a sexual encounter or not, or if it's all in your head, and if it's you thinking, I have to show I can last longer to be perceived as this macho fucker that can have sex for hours and lasts a long time, instead of focusing on what you actually feel and what your body is actually enjoying or not. And again, the less requirements we have when we go to bed should also make our encounters better. So we have now, we have 3 requirements that I'm thinking about now, which is to enjoy sex, you have to have an erect penis somewhere. You have to have penetration. You have to have ejaculation. If one of those 3 elements are lacking, it's going to be considered incomplete sex. If there's not an erect penis, probably there isn't even a chance to have sex, because people are going to shut down. If there's no penetration, it's going to be considered mediocre sex, or only foreplay, which is really stupid, because we consider that only penetration is sex and all the other is just like secondary sexual stimulation, not really sex. We should really destroy that idea as well. If there's no orgasm, some people think that it's incomplete sex. And all of those are requirements that we go to bed into and we stress out about. And it's like, please, I need to have an erection. Please, I need to be able to penetrate my partner. Please, I need to be able to come. And all of that, of course, takes us away out of arousal, out of the kinkiness, out of all the things that turn us on, and brings us into worrying, into anxiety, into all that which isn't fun, of course. And once you assume that all those requirements are actually bullshit and you don't need any of those to enjoy a sexual encounter, then you're going to start actually enjoying sex the way you as a person, as an individual, would like it to be. So I would really like to hear what you think about it. I love that you are really active in the comments, so just keep doing that. I really enjoy it. I've actually been emailing myself with some people from the YouTube channel, some subscribers. I really like that as well, so if you want to write and start talking about the subjects, I'm really open to it. See you on the next video. Bye.